Fenway Sports Group have now owned Liverpool Football Club for 11 years, and the famous old institution has seen some key personnel changes in that time. Jurgen Klopp is the fourth manager that FSG have employed, after inheriting Roy Hodgson, replacing him with Kenny Dalglish, and then entrusting Brendan Rodgers with the role. Ian Ayre was already at the club in October 2010, was later promoted to managing director and later left in 2017, while Damien Comolli was appointed as director of football strategy shortly after FSG arrived, but was gone less than 18 months later. It was something of a rocky road in those early years of the current ownership group, but the important roles at the club now appear to be filled with people they can rely upon. John W. Henry, principal owner. A billionaire thanks to his expertise in futures trading, Henry purchased the Boston Red Sox baseball franchise in 2002, and within 2 years had ended their 86-year wait to win a World Series crown. In 2010, New England Sports Ventures, headed by Henry and later to become FSG, bought Liverpool. Henry is content to remain in the background whenever possible, to the point that when he shares his thoughts with reporters it makes headlines around the world. Tom Werner, chairman. Werner, a TV producer by trade, was part of the ownership group which bought the Red Sox in 2002, and was then also involved with the purchase of Liverpool. Like Henry, the 71-year-old rarely comments publicly on the Reds. Mike Gordon, FSG president. With the principal owner and chairman based in the US and often in the background, Liverpool needs someone to oversee the day-to-day running of the club, and Gordon is that man. While the financial side of the business is hugely important, it was Gordon who set the wheels in motion when the Reds looked to appoint Jurgen Klopp. For that alone, the club owes him an enormous debt. Billy Hogan, Chief Executive Officer. He was the club's Chief Commercial Officer between 2012 and 2020, and he has now been the CEO of Liverpool for a little over a year, having taken over from Peter Moore. Although yet another somewhat reclusive director of Liverpool, Hogan was not shy in selling the club during his time as CCO. He helped to broker progressively more beneficial kit deals with Warrior, New Balance and Nike, bringing vital funds into the club's coffers. Matt Scammell, Commercial Director. There aren't too many people who represent both Manchester United and Liverpool in their careers, but Scammell is one person who has, having been with the Anfield Club since June 2020. Michael Edwards, Sporting Director. Edwards has had an interesting journey with Liverpool, particularly in the eyes of the supporters. Where once the club's transfer committee was viewed with great suspicion, it's no exaggeration to say some Kloppites would now happily see a statue of Edwards built outside of Anfield. The reason he is so popular is that it is his role to identify potential new signings for the club and arrange the deals, as well as selling on the players who no longer have a role in Jurgen Klopp's squad. It's fair to say that the club's transfer business in the last few years has been as perfect as anyone could realistically have hoped for, and a big part of that is down to the work of Edwards. He looks set to depart the club next summer, though the assistant sporting director Julian Ward may take over in a classic piece of promoting from within, the mantra of the old Liverpool boot room. Ian Graham, Director of Research. Graham heads a team of remarkable data scientists, former junior chess champions and astrophysicists who use their finely honed skills with numbers to analyse and identify potential transfer targets for the club. As he noted at a recent StatsBomb conference, half of transfers fail, but the work conducted by Graham and his team ensures Liverpool have a much higher hit rate in the market. It was they who identified Mohamed Salah as a target for Liverpool and had to convince Klopp that he was the right player to sign. The Liverpool manager will be eternally grateful that he was won over by the analytics department of the club. Jurgen Klopp, manager. Let's be honest, you really don't need an explanation about what Klopp does or what he has achieved with Liverpool, but he would be the first to admit that he couldn't have done it alone, and that the Reds have built up a very impressive backroom team during his time in England. Peter Krawietz has worked with Klopp since his Mainz days, whilst fellow assistant manager Pep Lijnders is hotly fancied to be the next Reds boss. John Achterberg looks after the goalkeepers, having been at the club since 2009, while Andreas Kornmeier, who previously worked for Bayern Munich, is responsible for the fitness and conditioning. After the injury problems the Reds had to deal with last season, the 2020 appointment of Dr. Andreas Schlumberger as head of recovery and performance looks to be key in the years ahead too. And we can't overlook Mona Nemeth either, Liverpool's head of nutrition. Mona is heart and soul, she is everything, Klopp once said. She is so smart, not one player is in doubt about her, that's outstanding. Nemeth is definitely smart, but there seems to be little doubt that there is a description which can be applied to everybody in a key position at Liverpool.